So I'm doing a live stream where I'm just gonna share like some things that I've been watching on Netflix. So I have watched some Korean shows that I really like Cat Crash Landing on You, and I did start watching Mr. Sunshine, but the thing that has kept me from finishing that is you have to read all the captions, and I do like shows with captions, but I have to really feel like I'm in the zone to sit down. And honestly, like one thing about me is I'm not like a big sit down and watch shows kind of person. Like I kind of just have a video going in the background when in the past I'd work on a craft, a drawing, or if I'm combing out my hair since my hair is long. So sometimes like I would just watch these shows if I was brushing my hair or cleaning the house or doing something. So, an English language show or a show that has some Spanish in it, because I have Spanish comprehension up to, I don't know. Don't ask me to speak Spanish, but I can comprehend elementary level Spanish spoken. So, like when I was watching Jane the Virgin and her grandma, her abuela, would be speaking to her in Spanish. I would understand like the gist of what they were saying because they were responding to her in English. So it seemed pretty easy to me. Like I can watch that show when I'm doing various things. So I watched two Netflix shows recently. I guess you could say Jane the Virgin was mostly in English, although it had some Spanish dialogue, which kind of is fun and mixes it up. And then I watched Emily in Paris because people kept saying Emily in Paris was really good. And look, I don't want to knock a show or criticize a show. So I'll tell you which one I really liked and which one I didn't care for. Now, Jane the Virgin was an older show. Somebody had told me a few years ago, this one guy said, "Oh, you remind me of the girl in Jane the Virgin," which I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, but once I started watching it, I kind of got it because she's stuck in her head a lot. I wasn't an English major, but she's literary. She loves to read, so I could kind of identify with that character. Like I really loved that show. It's comedy. It had magical realism. It was just fun to watch. It was like a comedy, dramedy, telenovela. It was just a really good show, and I ended up binge watching it and really enjoying it. It's so different. So I would say if you're looking for something new and fun to watch, I would really recommend Jane the Virgin. It's not brand new anymore, but that was pretty good. It hadn't been on my radar. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I didn't watch it when it was on TV. But since Netflix is having more recommendations, it had been recommended to me back in September, and I decided to go ahead and watch it recently because I hadn't finished it. So I did, and I finished it in about a month, like the whole 5 seasons. It was that good. I really liked it. It was fun, and I would just say watch it, see what you think. It's about a woman who's accidentally artificially inseminated by this guy who's Raphael hotel owner. He had cancer. I guess he had some like he had some sperm samples, and his wife had Petra unfroze it, and the sister was drunk or upset about something that happened the night before, so she artificially inseminated the wrong person. It's very whimsical, it's very silly, but I really liked that show. It was really good. Now let me get to the one that I didn't like as much, and I don't know, I hate knocking a show because I kind of was hoping I was really going to love Emily in Paris. Not love it, but maybe just kind of like it. I didn't hate it, but like if I were to rate it, like let's say it was 5 stars, I'm going to give it 3 because I just feel like I've seen it before, except it has some new themes. Like, and I don't know, like I get it, like there. Okay, I'll tell you the two things I really didn't like about it at first was that she doesn't speak French. Like that just really bothers me. And I get it, like she wasn't expecting that job, but I would feel like somebody who's living in Paris would make a much more concerted effort to learn the language. And I understand like they want it to be comprehensible to an English speaking audience because it's Netflix and it's geared towards Americans primarily, so I get it. Like it's going to be geared towards an audience that speaks English. But I just feel like with subtitles, you could have had her learn more French. It just feels like there wasn't a large effort. And she always just kind of relied on the fact that people in Europe learn foreign languages, whereas Americans are very staunch about how they think we shouldn't learn languages until middle and high school, which I always thought that was really weird about the American educational system, that we don't like promote and teach other languages. It's weird. Like, unless you're going to a private school, like at public school, kids don't get that option. Parents don't get that option to have their kids like dual immersion. Like, why can't we have dual immersion Spanish and English? I always thought that was really like, to me, like English can be the primary language of this country, but other people speak other languages. Like German used to be widely spoken in the US. You know what brought an end to that? Oh, World War II, because of prejudice. But there used to be communities where people spoke German. And basically, you have to put your kid in a private school to learn a foreign language at a younger age when they're like a sponge and they're going to absorb it. So, yes, when you're older, it's harder to learn a foreign language. But the thing that I just found really lazy about that show that just kind of made me not appreciate it very much was the fact that she just really doesn't learn English and she relies so heavily on people who speak English. And it just seemed so entitled. Like, that one part of the show just kind of turned me off. I'm like, you're going to another country and you're expecting them to learn the language. And then, okay. I mean, I don't know. How naive could somebody be with a marketing degree? So here she's working with this woman named Sylvie who doesn't really seem to like her throughout the whole series. And she mentions on multiple occasions it has to do with not learning the language. And to me, like, that's a big thing. And she just, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it kind of perpetuates the ignorant American stereotype because she's like, oh, I'm coming to show you an American spin on social media. Oh, I'm going to project my that's another thing too, like my American ideas of political correctness on you. And it's it was very light, by the way, though. It doesn't even get in scratch the surface. And another thing too is even though the fashion was fun, I just felt like I don't know what it was about it. I just kind of felt like certain themes I'd seen before. I felt like it had some themes from like Sex in the City that I've seen that were just kind of put into this context, even though it's a different story. And it had a love triangle, but like it was very unsatisfying because like in Jane the Virgin, you have like well-written characters where like the love triangle develops, but in this story it's just kind of like, oh, I like the neighbor, but oh, I find out he has a girlfriend, but she's my friend. And then the neighbor Gabriel and his girlfriend Camille fight over stupid things, and it just seemed like their fights were just not really well rounded. Like the whole show just felt like kind of it just felt very shallow. Like it didn't feel like there was much depth. And there was just a lot of cliches like, oh, I got my Trader Joe peanut butter shipped to me and it exploded. And then Gabriel's like, oh, let me make you something because we're in France. And he makes her an omelet. And he's just so humble and kind. And then she dates the stuck up French professor. It's just, there were a lot of cliches in there that I didn't really care for. Hi. And I guess people really love that show. Like, I don't know. I don't want to hate it. I will give it 3 out of 5 stars if you like French scenery or just fashion. Like, then it might be fun. But I just feel like, okay, I just feel like it kind of took some themes from Sex and the City, but which had been more fleshed out. Like, I don't like half-hour shows. That's another thing, too. I like shows that have deep writing, deep storylines that can. And I think the reason I really like Jane the Virgin is because she wanted to write a novel, and it almost is like the characters are so well developed in that comedy. It's almost like you're watching a novel come on to live on the screen. But this show just it moves so fast, and it just felt like a rehash for a younger audience of things I've seen before. So I wasn't a big fan of Emily in Paris. And I don't want to completely knock it. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but I would give it 3 out of 5 stars, which I think is fair. Now, Jane the Virgin wasn't my favorite show either. I'd give that more like 4 out of 5. It didn't like blow me out of the waters, but it was better and more entertaining, and I wanted to keep watching it. Although I did watch both fairly quickly, and I think the best show I'd seen recently was Crash Landing on You. Now that one was really, really good. I really liked that one a lot. So I'm doing good. How are you doing? So out of all the shows that I've seen recently, I'm not the biggest show watcher though. Like I would rather be working on my blog or working on YouTube and things like that. Like I just feel like I've always been more hobby driven than just wanting to sit down and watch shows. So for me, it takes a lot of effort to like sit down and just watch a show because it's not really my cup of tea precisely, but yeah, I'll have something on in the background just to kind of like if I'm doing something to like just have some, I don't know, noise or to listen to something. But I'm not like the kind of person that like craves watching a show every night. And like if other people were doing that, eating popcorn, I'd probably be up like cooking or cleaning the kitchen and working on my blog or something because I'm just like that's kind of the person I am. I'm not like I need to watch a show every night kind of person. Like I've been watching more shows recently, but I can go like stretches where I don't want to watch anything. And yeah, that's just kind of my take on the whole show things. Like I don't really get it. I understand people really love shows. And Netflix is getting better. I don't know if it's because I've been utilizing it more. Maybe the recommendations are just getting better for me. But my suspicion is they just don't want people to go out. And that's another thing, too. You shouldn't be going out and going like on vacations right now. Like, why is everybody going out? Like, hello, you live in COVID times. What are you doing? This is ridiculous. Like, you don't need to be going out and like, I don't know. It's just like, if you are going out and you're socializing, stop. Like, put on the brakes right now. Turn around and go back home. Yep, go back home. Just like knock it off. Stop being très dangereux. There's a French term, and go home and do something at your house. Like I don't want to tell people what to do, and I don't think the government should tell people what to do. But hello, I think they need to like there needs to be some sort of health announcement with health advisory recommendations and like socializing in crowds of any kind. It's not safe. Like that's probably why there's more on Netflix right now for people to watch. But like I'm just like, yeah. So that's that. And I don't want to go too deep into what's going on right now. Now, here are my thoughts on the year. I think the less of the news you're consuming, I'm not saying everything's perfect in the world, but I've actually been feeling pretty good this year. And I heard a lot of people say, "Oh my God, like with hair, like I had problems with my hair." But I don't know. My hair grew longer this year, even though I trimmed it. Like it's almost like two words reaching calf length, and I've had a lot of good, like just good progress on my hair, even though I've trimmed it a little bit this year. So I don't feel like this year was a bad year for hair. If anything, I feel like I just saw more progress and growth and like beyond just talking about shows I watched on Netflix. I've just had a really good year with hair growth, and I do have a hair goal that I want to see if I can get to floor length, but I'm not guaranteeing that like things can change, but I think I don't foresee myself wanting to cut my hair or anything. So I don't know. I just want to get to floor length. I just don't want to guarantee my hair is going to be floor length if it didn't grow that long. I mean, I suspect it could. And I also think too, I want to encourage people to not always believe everything they see on social media when it comes to like you'll know who has actual long hair and who doesn't based on like if like how they treat their hair or if they're just showing you actual natural hair care. And some people do rely on extensions, and I still like I don't want to call anybody out because it's your own life, like what you want to do and you want to spend money on. But I do think it's really weird, like the whole okay, my whole beef with the extensions and wig thing in the West is that there's a lot of women that call out other women for growing their hair long or for having longer hair and saying that they should have short hair and they should have like bobs and things. And okay, but then there's a lot of people that rather than just grow out their own hair and like love their own hair thickness and natural thickness that are relying on extensions. And I just think it's false. Like, I don't like, look, I'm not a proponent of plastic surgery, fillers, like, gaudy, like, I don't like things that are fake. I'm a naturalistic kind of person. Like, I like things that are natural. That's just my take. I don't aspire or want to be something I'm not. I feel like you could just value what you have and try to work on the best version of yourself. I don't think you need to wear makeup. Like, and it's usually women and not men that would be very shocked by that, who would say, like, oh my gosh, she don't wear makeup. No, I don't wear makeup. Have I ever worn makeup in a video? Like, ever? Because I've never worn makeup. Like, maybe I've worn some BB cream, but I have never ever. And I just always hear that still. Like, I'll hear women say, oh my gosh, like, well, no, I'm just talking about people in general. I haven't had anybody specifically say that recently. I'm just talking about experiences more when I'm younger. I think the longer your hair gets, people are going to stop saying that to you because they're just going to realize, oh, well, you want to grow hair long. And I've actually had kind of a different recently, like people being more positive. Like I actually women surprisingly like saying that they liked my hair, like which was different because in the past that wasn't always the case. What Publian disliked the stream? Somebody disliked it? I don't know. Probably somebody who didn't like something I was saying. I don't care. Um, I didn't even know that they disliked it. I can't see it when I'm in this mode. um, because I'm in the live chat. There's always gonna be somebody who dislikes something. I don't care. They probably didn't like that I said I don't think you need extensions or makeup or plastic surgery. I don't believe in any of that. You know why? Because when I was young, like my mom, I don't know, like she just before it was popular to be this way, she was just into like vegetarianism and being healthy and just doing things natural. Like we didn't like I didn't have the kind of mom that would be like, yeah, let's go to the salon and get highlights. Like that's just I grew up with parents that were more into natural like remedies and hair care and it's possible. Like people like look at India, like look at how women use henna and they use all sorts of oils in their hair. Like they have the most beautiful hair in the world. And it's the West. That's kind of where I was getting back to my point with the extensions. The thing that I don't like about the extensions is that I feel like, why are Western women like thinking that's okay? Like, I don't know if it's just that people haven't been educated yet. And I get that people might, in some situations, want to donate their hair, but they're not usually getting any money for it. So, like, I don't know. Just FYI to anybody that donates their hair in an Asian country, like you're not making any money off that. And there's all these companies that are making a lot of money off you, like people who fly helicopters, okay? People who live these really grandiose lifestyles. And to me, like it's just so funny because it'll be people like the people that are really into all these things that'll be like all pro social justice warrior, but they don't even know anything about like a lot of the practices that they implement in their daily life that actually kind of use other people. And I guess that's the thing about like I'm not a social justice warrior. I'm just about like why don't you live more of a holistic lifestyle and treat people with consideration, period. Like I just feel like I don't think people research what they're doing and they don't think about what they're doing. They just go with the flow and they see, oh, a celebrity was wearing extensions, or I see somebody on Instagram and they have this really thick hair, but they didn't go to look. No, you can't be a friend to everybody, but I think that's kind of weird that somebody just like the live stream right off the bat. I don't know, like that's just funny. It's kind of funny though if you think about it because I like what is, I'm saying something they don't like. Oh, it could be too. Like I've said several things. I said I didn't like a certain show and I liked another one more than another. Who knows? But and you're right. Like you can't be a friend to everybody. You can only be a friend to people that you have an affinity for. You can be considerate to people, you can be kind to people, but it's actually kinder to be authentic than to be deceptive and pretend like you're everybody's friend, you know? And I'm not gonna promote like unhealthy things. Like I just think there's a lot of unhealthy or things that aren't positive that people mask or they masquerade as being positive. And I think hair extensions are not positive, okay? I just don't like there might be there might be certain circumstances where people need them, but in general, they destroy and ruin your hair. And the people whose hair they came from, they didn't get compensated. And why would you want to put somebody else's hair on your hair? And another thing, too, I just don't agree with it. I'm not going to be anti that. I just think try to grow your own hair, you know? I'm probably not gonna have an OnlyFans because I don't see the point. Like I can do videos here where I talk about anything I want, and I just like YouTube. Because the thing about the OnlyFans is I don't understand the point. Like first off, I would just make videos like I do now, and I don't know why would I want to charge people $20 a month to see the same content that I make here. And I just braid my hair because I want to, and I've done videos where I show my hair loose. So yeah. Well, those are the kind of videos I'm going to be making, just what I make now. And I only plan on staying YouTube. I don't want to go on other platforms, like, because I do hair videos when it's fun for me. And I have a second channel where I want to do other kinds of videos like crafts and cooking. So I just don't see how OnlyFans or any of those platforms would be of interest to me because they're not, like, honestly. I just want to do what I'm doing, like, a lot of people are jumping on all these platforms. Look, a couple of years ago, they were all doing Patreon, right? They were like, oh my God, we all have to go on Patreon. And then all of a sudden, they decided that Patreon wasn't really, I don't know what it was about Patreon. They weren't getting the economic rewards that they wanted from it or something like that. They didn't like Patreon. So now they're all doing OnlyFans. And I'm like, I don't even care because, like, you have YouTube and you can live stream on YouTube, and the kind of videos I make here are the kind of videos I make anywhere. So that's what I'm going to make. I'm not going to be making like special, it just sounds like a lot of work. No, that's not the kind of videos I do. But maybe you are looking for a different kind of channel. I don't know. Anyway, like to people that are watching my channel, like right now, like the kind of videos I'm making or what I want to make, I don't want to make anything else. I want to talk about hair care. I want to have PG videos. I don't want to cater to other kinds of audiences. That's not what I'm about. So sorry. I just like to talk about what I want to talk about. That's it. What else? What else? Hair related. So another thing that I could recommend is just like I will maybe make a feature video. I think this might be interesting about how not everybody wants to use a boar bristle brush. And I've talked about this before, but I've like looked at YouTube and there's all these long hair people. They're always like, they're extolling the values of a boar bristle brush, but I'm vegan, so I don't want to use one. And I also was thinking a lot of like Jewish and Muslim people don't use them. So I thought that might be an interesting video to make because I think you can have healthy long hair without using a boar bristle brush. And I don't really understand what the point is. Like, there's this debate that I guess, or this thought, school of thought, that plastic gives people more static in their hair. And I tend to be more on the naturalistic side, but this is my take on that whole thing. I think it's a going back to nature thing in a different sort of way. Um, I don't think plastic is the devil incarnate. Like some people just think that plastic is just evil and that if you somehow comb your hair with a plastic brush or they think it's doing something bad, but yet then you'll see another video where they're brushing their hair with a plastic brush. So I'm going to tell you something about, I don't know, I can't tell you how the boar bristle brush works because growing up, I didn't own one because my mom was vegetarian. We didn't buy things like that because I don't know if you know, but if you're vegan, I'm just going to kind of foreshadow what this video will be about. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you don't usually want to wear leather, okay? So boar bristles come off a pig and they kill and slaughter the pig to make that brush. And to me, I'm not comfortable with that. And that's just from a vegan perspective. But then, like, you have a lot of YouTube videos where people are like, you need to use a boar bristle brush. And I'm like, Actually, I don't use a scrunchie at the end of my braid. I just use a hair tie, and the reason being is because I braid to the bottom. And I think the people who use a scrunchie, like they're doing it higher up, and their hair is shorter than mine, so like it holds, like it's not gonna slip. Whereas I like plastic hair ties, like elastic. A lot of people don't like elastic, but I never stopped using elastic hair ties, and I didn't have a problem with them. It's just okay. On the top of my hair, I do think a scrunchie is better, like when you're pulling your hair back for the top. But in general, I'm not a big fan of like the scrunchie in the bottom. I don't do that. Um, so when I was talking about the boar bristle brush, I just don't think they're all that in a bag of chips. And there are like religions in the world where people don't want to use pig products on their head. They don't. And I just thought it might be interesting because I feel like there's a lot of long hair people in the long hair community that keep talking, extolling the benefits of the boar bristle brush, but nobody really talks about why people might not want to use it. And I don't know if you know, like, there are people from parts of the world where their faith might not allow it, so they might buy that brush. And I mean, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't know where it comes from or what the product is, but I just think it's an interesting discussion as to why people might not want to. Okay, it's two-part. There's reasons people want to use it, but then the second part is I don't think you need to use it to have healthy hair. I just don't agree with that because usually like everybody will say, "Oh my gosh, this is the product." Is your hair one length? The hair on the top of your it's all about one length. You've seen like if you watch my last video, that's the length of my hair. I don't have layers. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Like, do I have layers? No, I don't have layers in my hair. Um, so I guess what I was going to try and convey, just I'm probably going to stop talking about that because nobody seems interested. I guess nobody's very interested in boar bristle brush right now on a live stream. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to at this point, I'm probably just going to make a video about that later. I was hoping there might be more discussion in the discussion box, but right now I don't see much. It's not that there's not much discussion going on. So anyway, bye.